So Lab 17, Space Management. I already have all of my VMs up and loaded. I am actually on my VC. I'm going to go ahead and maximize my screen. I have already loaded our StarWind software. Again, this is our software storage unit. Part of this chapter is we're going to be managing our data stores on our SAN. Granted, our SAN is a software SAN, but it's a SAN nonetheless. So first thing we're going to do is, once you have all of your VMs up and running, make sure that your StarWind server is connected. Let's go ahead and open up our vCenter. We're going to be migrating some of our data from our iSCSI 1 to our iSCSI 2 LUN. Our single sign-on should be working. It just takes a second. So once our machines load, before we do anything, we do want to back up one of our files. So let's go ahead and go back to our home page. Let's go to our data stores. We actually want to go ahead and look or browse data store for iSCSI 1. We want to back up our VMX for our XP Pro C. So we want to download it to our desktop. That's fine. Takes a second or two, but let's verify that it downloaded correctly, which it did. Okay, so once we have that, let's go back to our host and cluster views. Right now, all of them are on, 2 of these should be on iSCSI 1, XP Pro B should be on iSCSI 2. I want to migrate all of them to our iSCSI 2 LUN. So if you right click, I did that kind of quick. If you right click one of the machines, you can migrate them between hosts or data stores or both. For us, we just want data store. We want to put them all on iSCSI 2. It will take a second or two, but it will process. I'm going to go ahead and set up the next one as well. Just changing the data store. I also want to put that on 2. And then just let it migrate the VMs over. So it took a few minutes, but it went ahead and did that. So now that we have this, we're actually going to navigate to our configuration, our storage adapters. So we should actually be able to see our different names. So these are our 3 LUNs. So we are actually going to go ahead and unmount one of them. So we're going to navigate to storage. And we are actually going to unmount our iSCSI 1, because there should be nothing there. We're also going to unmount iSCSI 1 from our ESXi 2. And I will go ahead and refresh it. It should show inactive. So I'm going to go ahead and remount it and browse it. Any data that was there when they're unmounted will still be there. If we want to verify, we can actually upload our file that we downloaded earlier, our XP Pro VMX. So it's there. I'm going to unmount it again. I will remount it. And everything is still there. Because again, this is just a mounting point on our vCenter. This actual iSCSI is a storage volume on our storage server. So unmounting and remounting does not affect the data. So what happens if we delete it? So it's deleted from our ESXi2, but you'll notice it's also then deleted from 1 as well. So when we delete them, the actual LUN is deleted. So let's go ahead and re-add storage. We're going to add storage. We're going to add another LUN. Because we deleted it, we actually have the option to reselect it, because when you delete it, it deletes all data off of it. We're going to do a vmfs5 file system. This is just going to show you how it's configured. We're going to call it iSCSI1 because that's what the LUN that we deleted was called. We're just going to rename it back to 1. Maximum space is good. Go ahead and finish. So here in a second, once it's done processing, it should be returned. So let's hop over to ESXi2, and you should notice that it is back, but it's not mounted. You just have to remount it. I was going too quick. It was actually in the process of remounting. That's why when I tried to manually force it to remount, it failed. It was already trying to do it. So what about the data there? We uploaded a file, but you notice nothing is there. That's when we delete the stores, all the data on them is deleted as well. So we have to keep that in mind. Okay, so now, what about when we unmount and delete NFS data stores? So first thing we want to do is, before we touch our data store for NFS, let's make sure that none of our virtual machines have anything mounted to them. For example, our optical drives. Because we actually installed using ISOs. The ISOs were all mounted in the NFS share. So let's go ahead and unmount all of them. Okay, with that, I'm going to hop over back to ESXi1, and here we're going to unmount our NFS. And I'm going to hop over to ESXi2, and notice it's still there, because they have to be unmounted individually. But notice when we unmount them, they're completely gone. If we want to re-add them back, let's do a rescan all to see if they populate again. So not even with a rescan all do they come back. We have to re-add the storage. So using add storage, we use a network file system, and we have to fill out all the information again. Remember, we're using 3.20, the folder is NFS. And our data is still there. But you notice it didn't get brought back up on the second one. So let's go ahead and re-add the storage to our second one, just like we did our first. We're going to be doing NFS. And it should populate again. So we already showed that unmounting keeps the data structure. But what about deleting? Because deleting an iSCSI LUN deleted the entire LUN. But what about when we delete this guy? Let's go ahead and try it. I'm already on ESXi2, so I'll just delete it from here. But you notice if we right click, we cannot delete it. We actually have to go up to the menu bar to delete it. but where in the menu bar do we find it? Okay, so for whatever reason, my NFS will not delete. I've read through some of the articles on VMware's site. It's just, nothing is linked to it. It's just not wanting to let me delete it. So, for that part, the big part of just realizing it, that you can unmount and you can delete data stores. Normally when you unmount, the data stays intact. If you delete, the data is wiped. That's a really big thing here. That's really it for this lab, so thank you and have a great day.